Hi folks, here's a video today of things I would never have thought would ever happen, but there we are. CRKT. I've never owned a CRKT knife, mainly because they've never really just appealed to me, but I suppose, they're a competent knife maker, and they make this particular one, which is the CRKT Liong Mah number 5 limited in blue. Now, this was a knife from kind of good Heine Haynes, that's their logo, who are based in South Wales. They are a UK retailer of knives, and they're not the only UK retailer of knives, but they're one of the better ones. Downside, they can be a little bit expensive, but they always seem to have good stock. And most of all, if you order something even up to quite late in the afternoon, you'll have it the following morning in the post. They really are good at that, and they don't pay me for that, and they're not providing me any samples. When I did ask them for a discount the other day, I got a tiny little discount, even though I was buying a wheen of knives. That's a lot for foreign people. Anyway, what was I getting? Well, in the past, Heine have done a series of limited edition knives, like, for example, this, and most recently this, and they did a version of this. This isn't one of their limited editions. So that's the Manly Wasp, that's the Spyderco UK PK, and this is the Bokeh Plus Tech Tool 1. They've done them all. Now, when they did them all, one thing that they did to make them Heine Haynes editions rather than plain old Manly or Spyderco or Bokeh versions was that they made them in red. Now, they've done a few, because they've done a couple of titanium ones and so forth as well, but all the ones with a plastic handle of any type, they've always done them in red. But they did this one in red, which is the Liong Mah number 5, and they did that in red for quite a long time. And this is a funny limited edition, because with the Wasps, you could buy this one off them for 55 quid. If you bought the limited edition one, it was 50. With the Spyderco UK PK, this was actually slightly more expensive than the standard version, but a lot less than the S110 version, and this one had upgraded scales and an S30V steel blade, so you were getting something extra for a reduced price. The Liong Mah number 5 sells on their website for about 50 quid. The red limited edition one, which is still there, sells on their website for about 25 quid. It's half price. This one, though, you're hard pressed to find it on their website. They're actually listing at £100. The reason for that is because they don't want you to buy them. They want to give them to you. So when I was putting in an order, if you put in an order of sufficient size, they were giving you one of these as a freebie. And that is the only reason that I own it, because I really don't like it. I never liked it. I don't like the look of it. And now I've got it in hand. I'm not even sure I like it in hand either. It's just, it's okay. I suppose it's a good enough knife. It's G10 scales over steel liners. Decent clip if that's your bent. It's reversible. There's a little slot to put it in. There's no little metal cover on that. It is one hand openable, but do you know what? You know what my hands are like. I'm not really doing that one-handed, but I'm sort of doing it one-handed, if you see what I mean. Any of you who have reasonable hands will be able to open that without any trouble. As I say, Liong Mah number 5. Still can't get that to focus properly. Don't know why, but my phone's decided today it doesn't want to focus. There's some jimping on the back, again, if you like that sort of thing. I don't really. With a hugely thick blade, if you like that sort of thing. I think it's a nonsense, but there we are. CRKT on the other side. It's got some nice sort of satin finishes on it, and they've obviously spent a little bit of time playing about to try and make it a bit sort of smart and in some ways flashy, but it reminds me in that respect very much of. I looked at two knives at the same time previously. One was the Manly Wasp, and the other was the SOG Terminus. And the SOG Terminus, they did something similar. They spent a lot of time and energy making sure that it's got different sort of shapes to the blade, a swedge, hollow ground, and CRKT I think have done something similar in a similar vein. It's not the same style, but it's a similar vein. They've also, the other thing that they have in common is this is a see-through knife with the slip joint locking mechanism in the top. They're both slip joints. I never pointed that out, did I? They've done something similar here. I don't know exactly how this one works. I haven't the energy to or the motivation, I suppose, to really find out. But I suspect it's a similar styled arrangement, except there's almost nothing holding it open. It's really just a light detent. Now I don't panic that that's going to close on me and all of that nonsense, partly because you've got this finger choil here which kind of stops it closing on your fingers. Plus, I'm just not one of these people that thinks my knife's going to close on me all the time and live in that paranoid delusion. This one, the SOG, is a much better. But when I did my video of this, and if anybody watched it, you'll see that I did a bit of comparison time with the focus with the Wasp. And what I said about the Wasp was they've concentrated on getting decent steel. There's none of the nonsense chimping and clever mechanisms. It's just simple spring back slip joint. It does have a 4-stop opening, which is a bit bizarre, but I'm not opening it, doesn't really matter. It's they just made a simple S90V blade, and it's just good. It just cuts full flat grind. These ones, they've spent too much time trying to make them flashy and fancy, and so they look a bit clever, but as a cutter, that's way too thick of a knife in terms of staying open. There's nothing keeping it open. Really nothing. It's unusually weak. I've had knives. And there's no tang to keep your thumb on. The only thing you're relying on is your finger being in that finger choil. So, also, just to top it all off, if all of that wasn't enough, I put a daft wee lanyard on the bottom. I don't know what it's made of, but it's the lightest string. Probably cutting my finger off as I do this. I should do the focus thing again. Yeah, like a little bit of string or bootlace or something. It's not really paracord. It's too thin and floppy. Now I've left it on because this knife, it goes into what you might call my reserve collection. It's a collection knife, not a user. I don't think I'm ever likely to actually use this as a knife, but I'll keep it in my little pile of UK legal knives because it is a UK legal knife. So anyway, there you are, the CRKT Heine Haynes limited edition Liong Mah number 5 knife, for what it's worth. Bye.